Welcome to SCW. It's back for SCW Interviews, and once again now I'm joined by a very special guest today. I'm joined by, from the YouTube channel DWE, Mr. Dan the Man Williams. Dan, how are you doing today?
Very good. Excited to be on you once again.
It's great to have you back, and of course a lot has happened since we last spoke. Of course, you've started a YouTube channel, and from out of nowhere, over a few short months, you've gone from starting off to nearly 250 subscribers. That's a fantastic achievement in such a short spell of time. Tell everyone a bit about your channel.
My channel is wrestling, but a bit different to normal wrestling channels. Sometimes I'll do reviews, but it's like a lot less negative about the product, and it's different perspective completely, because I'm not really an attitude era. I haven't been watching wrestling for that long, so it's more of a modern fan and newer fans' point of view, their perspective on things.
I love that as well. That's what really engages me when watching your channel, because it's a different perspective. And like you said there's so many out there that have been watching the product for like 15, 20, 30 years. I'm not going to say how many years I've been following, but I've definitely been one of those as well. So it's great to see that different perspective, because, like you say, you're one of the sort of newer fans, and also from a different demographic as well to a lot of say that the NXT ones is the 50 plus, isn't it? A lot of the time, but to get your perspective is a nice, fun thing to listen to. And you've done a different mixture of wrestling videos, haven't you? Some old content as well as new content. But we'll start with some of the newer content before going to the older. What sort of stuff do you like doing of today's current product then?
I like to make more like entertainment videos, so it's not, sometimes there is reviews, but it's not just reviews. There's lots of different things, like I did WWE pickup lines, a lot of fun, more like creative stuff with wrestling, and like stuff that you normally see on YouTube, but with the mix of how can I make it as wrestling themed as possible.
I really like that. And like you said there, the Valentine's one was a good fun one there. There's sort of the pickup lines. If you're a singleton and you think to yourself, hang on at the minute, I've got a pickup line, it's wrestling related, you throw it out there. It was a great fun video though, and I really, really enjoyed it. And as well, you've got like you said, the prediction stuff, and also stuff that's kind of detailed and going to WrestleMania. Of course, you did a recent video based on Edge as well after his Royal Rumble win of who he should go after at WrestleMania, which I thought was a great, fascinating listen as well.
Yeah, I think it should be McIntyre. I think Roman has plenty of opponents on SmackDown he can face, where Drew really don't. So I think Edge would be really good for McIntyre.
I think it would be a good, solid match to see them two go against one another. I like the idea. It feels like a dream match almost. Like you say, I'd like the idea of a race, but like you said, there's a lot of people on SmackDown as well. But it's starting to feel as if it was leaning towards it a couple of weeks ago. But now things are kind of changing up a little bit week by week. We're seeing Cesaro get that push on SmackDown. We're seeing Daniel Bryan as well in the mix once again also. And on Raw, we see the stuff with Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton could be going off with the Fiend. There's so many variables. So like you said, Drew McIntyre Edge, it's not off the table. It's something definitely would like to see. But also you said to some of the current stuff, you've done also some of the older content, which I'm also fascinated by, because we mentioned earlier on about you having that sort of, being a newer fan, if you want. But to watch something like the first Royal Rumble that you did not so long ago, I thought was a great video as well. How did you find that, watching the Royal Rumble then compared to what we see now?
It's very, very different. The two products, like you wouldn't think they're both wrestling. You can see the difference, and what really sums up what the times was back then and now, and what wrestling really is now compared to back then. Absolutely. And you can tell, right, obvious to see the differences.
Yeah, it really is as well. And are you a fan of some of the old school characters? I mean, like I remember doing the whole of Hacksaw Jim Duggan when watching along.
Yeah, like the old characters, over the top, really boisterous, really like elegant, like flamboyant, that sort of thing. So people like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, he had that obviously Hulk Hogan, everyone knows, Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior, he had all of that.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed, and it's great to see those classic swings. But there was one as well. I think you found the oldest match you could find on the WWE Network. Was that one that you did as well?
Yeah, I did that right at the start of my channel. That was one of my first videos. Yeah, went all the way back to, I think it was 1950 or early 60s. It was great. It was black and white TV, and that was more like real wrestling. It was very interesting.
Yeah, it was indeed. I mean, I quite enjoyed watching it. Of course, like you say, you put it into a YouTube perspective as well, not just talking about the matches. You give a full reaction video as well. And I like that, because you're always quite animated with your reactions, which is always quite fun to watch.
Yeah, it's trying as possible, most entertainment for the viewer. And as been lockdown, you need the more entertainment, because you got all these Netflix, Disney shows and whatever, but can't get enough entertainment while we're in lockdown.
Absolutely did. Well, you started it while we were in lockdown. Of course, speaking of the pandemic, which was sadly we're still going for at the moment. Was that a motivation to get started, or was there any other motivations that got you to go into the YouTube videos?
Yeah, it's that, and also I always wanted to do something in wrestling. Obviously, when I'm all done, like in the future, and like if I can grow my name out now as much as possible, it's only gonna help when I do go into wrestling. If it's wrestling, promoting, anything within the ring or doing shows and anything like that, it will help lots.
Absolutely.
So grow.
That is the way to spread your name as well, absolutely, by starting the YouTube channel off. And of course, there is a big UK scene as well when it comes to the wrestling scene and stuff. And of course, yourself living in Wales and that. Would you see yourself trying to then bolster yourself, maybe try and get with some of these independent promotions first?
Yeah, well, I'd love to do it just as a bucket list thing, not even as for YouTube or career thing, just a bucket list thing. Get in, even if it's in front of 100 people in some pub or a holiday home, even if that's type of wrestling. I'd love to do at least one match in my life, and I think it's very doable, even if it's not WWE superstar level. I think that's very doable, and it'd be a fun experience, one that you'd never really forget.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you say, I mean, the scene in the UK is big as well. So the idea that you could actually get some training is a lot more able than perhaps what would have been, say, 15, 20 years ago. So it's an exciting prospect. And if there's any wrestling promoters out there watching from anywhere, keep an eye on this guy, Dan. Honestly, he's interested. He's getting the ring, get him trained up. Honestly, I think we've had an Irish WWE champion, we've had a Scottish one. We need a Welsh and an English one. That's the two things missing, isn't it? Maybe you could be the Welsh one.
There's only been one Welsh superstar in the main roster of WWE, and he didn't last that long. So
wasn't that Mason Ryan?
Yeah, Mason Ryan. He's the only ever Welsh one on Raw, and I know they got stuff in NXT UK, but Raw is only ever Mason Ryan, and he didn't really last long. So
that's a goal in itself, isn't it? There, so that's quite exciting times indeed. There, but also with going back to the YouTube channel stuff as well. As we're plugging the channel at the moment, you've done other sorts of videos as well that are not just like you said, incorporating wrestling in them, but like you did something very recent, which was very popular with I think it was Ric Flair Adidas trainers. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, well, I was watching the Survivor Series, and it was a Street Profits match, and they were wearing Ric Flair shoes, and the commentator, can't remember who was on commentary, he said, if you want to get these Ric Flair shoes, and I just thought, Ric Flair's got his own shoes of Adidas, you can't really miss it. It's a cool bit of wrestling merch to have straight on the website, and the shoes are really nice. So the whole video around them, and obviously Ric Flair, he's not just big in wrestling, pop culture, rap, he's everywhere, Ric Flair. So I find Ric Flair, he's one of the wrestling idols. Even though I'm a modern fan, you look back at his stuff and you think, wow, you can see why he was the top guy, and he still is very much involved in Raw now. So I did a video on that. That's my most viewed one so far.
Oh, fantastic. How many views has that got up to now?
I think it's around 500, something like that. 500, maybe even 600 last time I checked.
Incredible stuff there. No, that's awesome. But then you mentioned there, Ric Flair still being involved today, and obviously with today's product. Do you have a favourite wrestler going around at the moment in WWE?
Well, mine does change from time to time, but like I really had a constant. Like it depends on who's getting pushed really, and I've always liked Finn Balor since I started watching. I picked up him quite quickly because I watched NXT as well, and NXT was amazing when I first started watching back in 2015, 2016. Kevin Owens, another guy I really like, but Daniel Bryan's probably my all-time favourite.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there you go. I mean, an inspiration itself, Daniel Bryan as well. There isn't he? He's such a great mat technician and stuff like that, isn't he?
Yeah, and just the way he wrestles, it's not too like flippy, which turns off a lot of people. And it's like it's very believable, even though he's small. He wrestles a very believable style for his size, and he proved he could do it as a heel as well. He's brilliant.
He is character-wise. Then, like you say, he strategizes his matches. Very technical, very strategic. He seems to know his way around the ring, whether it's working as a good guy or a bad guy. So no, it's a very, very popular choice indeed. There. Well, we mentioned some of the favourites. Then let's just quickly touch into modern WWE, if you don't mind, just for the time being.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's more wrestling based at this particular time, but I want to come back to more some of the YouTube stuff a bit later on. What do you think with the current direction as we're now heading in towards the Elimination Chamber?
Well, the Elimination Chamber, it's the most stacked Elimination Chambers we've had in a long time, I can remember. 2019 had a good one, but like, look at all the stars, former world champions, all current guys as well. And like, they all got a credible threat, especially on Raw, Miz dropped out. Kofi Mania 2. I'd love for that to happen.
Yeah.
We got Jeff Hardy, who ever since he's been announced, a lot of people think we might even get Edge vs Jeff Hardy, so that would be really interesting if that happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Drew should win, though. I think Drew should win because he'd come up looking really strong if that was the case.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's a great idea if Drew McIntyre was to retain here, because you look at things in WWE right now, and obviously the lack of fans. We may get fans at WrestleMania this year, which was another video he did very recently as well. And the idea of that, I mean, Drew McIntyre has not had the opportunity to defend the championship in front of a crowd. He didn't even win it in front of a crowd. So do you think it'd be a bit unfair if he was to not get the opportunity this year?
I don't think it'll be unfair because everyone's got put in the same boat, because you could say the same with any superstar that's wrestled in front of a crowd. But it's probably given him more highlight because everyone's going to remember this time period in life. So, and they'll remember who was the champion through pretty much all of it, and that has been Drew McIntyre. And I'm sure that when fans do come about, he will have a prominent role, even if he don't have the championship.
Absolutely. I think you made a fantastic point there, really, with everyone being in the same boat and how you'll remember all of it. I think that's a really solid point there. Never thought of it from that direction, so I really like that. Judging on the SmackDown side of things, then, of course, Daniel Bryan, one of your favourites, Kevin Owens, another one of them. They're both inside the chamber structure and, of course, looking to fight to get an opportunity to fight Roman Reigns. Do you see either of them prevailing on the show?
I don't really think it could be Kevin Owens because obviously the storyline, but I think they've had really good matches. I really enjoy them wrestling, but I think we've had enough of Kevin Owens now. We don't want to overdo it with him. But I think, for me, I think they're going to go with Jey Uso to win the chamber. I think it'd be great for him versus Roman. We can really see the evil Roman after an Elimination Chamber match, straight facing his card, and he's going to pulverize him. And hopefully that'll lead to Jey Uso coming back out. And I think that would be the best way for them to go.
I like the idea, I really do, especially because Roman Reigns could be feeling so, confident that his family member does the dirty work to then actually think, well, hang on, I've got to wrestle him rather than actually him laying down for me. And like you say, it re-energizes that rivalry once again, because we're not getting The Rock now, and we've got this sort of family storyline going along. So it would be good to revisit the idea of main event Jey coming back to how he was, because he's sort of gone in the background, hasn't he, of late?
Yeah. I really enjoyed this one as well. Like he needs to keep up because he's proven, and I think fans received it quite well. Him being one of the top guys on SmackDown.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. Yeah, I think, to be honest, really, I didn't expect Jey Uso to be a solid main eventer, but the fact he was put in that position, great storytelling and stuff. I really enjoyed Jey Uso's work since he's been on that singles run, so I would be quite in favour of it. I think you make a great point there when you look at that. But looking elsewhere then, throughout that show, the United States Championship, there's a triple threat match as we speak with Lashley, Keith Lee, and of course Riddle. Do you have a preference how that one will go?
Well, I think hopefully they give it to Keith Lee, because he's actually, since he's come on to Raw, I did watch a bit of him in NXT when he had the double championships. I really like Keith Lee. I think he's got it all, and I'm sure WWE will back him as well as one of their top guys. So I'd like Keith Lee to win, but I think they'll probably keep it on Lashley.
Yeah. Do you see that? Obviously, those are the most popular two, and they're probably my likely two as well. Do you think Riddle would be the guy that would take the fall in this match?
I'm assuming so, but Riddle, I don't just listen to Royal Rumble. He had a really good showing, and you could tell there was something there for him. And the mini matches he had within the Rumble match, I remember him and Daniel Bryan just going absolutely ham and really getting to each other. And I do think there should be big things for Matt Riddle as well. So I'd love to see me post WrestleMania give him a little title run, even the WWE Championship shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say there, I mean, he had a great showing in the Rumble. And I must admit, some of the shots between Bryan and Riddle, like you said, they were quite brutal. It was quite tough to watch in places. No, I would agree with you. I'd like to see more given to Riddle in this match. It does feel like at the minute he's that sort of part piece in this. But like you say, I think a push somewhere further down the line would be good. He's getting a lot of TV time anyway, a lot of comedy segments as well. Obviously, with superstars being, in WWE, but also we've got some outsiders currently in WWE, and of course one of them is Bad Bunny. And I know that you're quite a fan of Bad Bunny, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I do listen to bad music. I do like that, Spanish style, that type of music. Even though I don't understand most of the words, I think it's quite good. And WWE, this is exactly what they need to be doing. They did it in the Attitude Era, with a lot of celebrities come in, especially around this time. And the fact he won the title on Raw, so the 24/7 title, they bring it to Saturday Night Live, which is quite a big American thing. So just all putting eyes on the product, and he seems to be really involved and wanting to do it. Whereas we've had Saturdays before do a half-assed attempt.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's current 24/7 champion as well. I wonder if that'll be involved on Saturday Night Live. Like you say, that was so big, and even it's the first time I can remember anything. I mean, of course, Bad Bunny isn't a WWE superstar full time, but I mean, it's the first time I've seen something WWE related with that for about 15, 20 years. That I can remember the likes of John Cena and The Rock doing it back in the day. There is an idea that we could get a WWE influence, which I think, like you say, this would be massive for the product. Would you like to see Bad Bunny in some sort of match at WrestleMania?
Oh, definitely. I think the best match for him to go down is either a tag team with Priest and Miz and Morrison. But even if it's singles, I'd love to see it. And like, I think it'd be quite good for him. Like, he wants to do it. And like, massive Latin style, get all the South American viewers' attention, a lot of the mainstream attention. And like the Miz will do great with him. You know, we know how good Miz is. So, and Damian Priest, if they do the tag with Priest, for Priest, you come onto the main roster and you're paired up with probably one of the biggest stars in music. So you're going to be in a prominent role.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you make another good point there. Like you say, could really elevate Damian Priest from this role. And of course, a lot of mainstream attention, more casual eyes to it. I agree. I think it's a win-win idea. I know not everybody is sold on the Bad Bunny idea. I'm not massively familiar with a lot of his music. I know some of it because occasionally from where I am based, I get a lot of the Latin sort of style music and stuff. But of course, nightclubbing's been a bit out of the picture the last sort of like year or so. So that's kind of been a bit ruled out for me. But I must admit, it's good to see it, and he's done very well on the merch side of things. So yeah, power to it. Hopefully it does come around. Going then, obviously we touched a lot of the sort of modern products, and obviously you said that you've been watching stuff on the WWE network since you were become a fan. Do you have like a favorite pay-per-view that you go back to watch every now and then?
I do tend to watch one of the ones I've seen before. Like I do like watching like WrestleMania 32. I watched quite a lot because that was my first proper WrestleMania fan. Because that's like that was like my first full year as a fan. I went from WrestleMania 31, 32 was my first proper one. But I do watch sometimes. I watch. I think there's WrestleMania in 2001 when it was Stone Cold Rock and you had Undertaker, Triple H. So I can't remember which exact WrestleMania was, but that one I really enjoyed when I rewatched it.
Yeah.
And WrestleMania 26 in 2010, and like.
Yeah, I mean, those are two fantastic WrestleManias. In fact, the first one you mentioned there, WrestleMania 17, that's actually my favorite show of all time, believe it or not. I think it's where things were around that sort of period and stuff like that was a real sort of, when you watch it back now, which I got an opportunity to some point last year, was a lovely nostalgic feeling. So no, it's a really good shout there. And also 2020, like you say, Shawn Michaels, at the time, his last match ever. And yeah, very special feeling when that was going down. As well as that then, do you have you said there, is that your favorite pay-per-view of all time then, currently WrestleMania 32, or do you have a different show that's currently one of your favorites?
It does change from time to time. I do NXT takeovers. I do love it. Even though I don't watch NXT, I'll always watch a takeover because it's just quality wrestling. Or show, I don't know if I have a favorite show of all time. I would probably say WrestleMania 32. I just really enjoyed. Like I know a lot of people don't like it, but I thought it was quite a good show myself. And still to this day, I'll still back it as a really fun show. So yeah, I'll probably say WrestleMania 32.
Yeah, I actually like WrestleMania 32 personally. I know it's the first night of the real longer WrestleManias, but good friend of mine that's been on the channel before, Ricky, he's actually went to that WrestleMania. Yeah. We did interviews around the time all those years ago of his experiences of going before, and then he gave a review actually of what it was like being in Dallas at that point, coming back. So for me, I have a kind of a sentimental feeling with that because I kind of felt, even though I wasn't there, I got a lot of those inner details and stuff, and to see the show itself, there was a lot of injuries at the time, and they put a solid card together. Like they couldn't give the show they wanted, but they still gave out a good product. And it's one of the, the highest, I think it's still the highest attended WrestleMania of all time. So it's a special one. And I know they're going back there next year. So that should be a fun experience. And hopefully they can have a full crowd when it comes round to it. But then if we look then further on, then you mentioned NXT, then you enjoy a takeover. We've just had a takeover. What were your thoughts then with Vengeance Day?
Oh, I devastated. Heartbreak on Valentine's Day. I love the Undisputed era because I'm mod a fan. There hasn't factions aren't really a thing much in wrestling, and they were like apart from the Shield, they were the main ones. And the fact I really like Adam Cole as well. He's one of my favorites, and the fact that he turned on them as well, it was devastating. But it was a really good show. Finn Balor, Pete Dunne had a great match. Kushida and Gargano as well, and the tag match as well. those new people from, I believe they're from TNA, Rascals.
Mm.
So I thought they were really good as well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a solid takeover. I thought from start to finish, it was a lot of fun to watch there. And I like the idea of heartbreak on Valentine's Day there, because like you say, we just didn't see that coming with Adam Cole. It was a complete shock. Do you think that this actually leads them to a full breakup with the UE, or do you think that there is a way that they can recover this?
It has to be a full breakup, really, don't it? Actually, it'd be quite a dull thing not to do. It's like, because you can't have the leader out there just feel like a low effort, undisputed era, then it won't be the same without Cole. So I don't know how the two, Roderick Strong and Cole, and then O'Reilly and Fish. But I think Kyle O'Reilly, I've seen him in the singles match. He did take Battle to the limit. And I think he's got a lot of potential if he just goes on a singles run.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I think that there is a lot of potential there. I really want to see O'Reilly and Cole. They have a lot of history together through their Ring of Honor days as a tag team and as rivals. Their actual Kyle O'Reilly's last matches in Ring of Honor were against Adam Cole. One of them, he won the world title, but then he went to sign for WWE, so he had to drop the championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling on Wrestle Kingdom. So it's quite fun, the history they have, and I hope that they can sort of revisit that program in WWE. Like you say, both of them are super, super talented, and I thoroughly enjoyed their work as well. Yeah, I mean, when you look at things then from NXT takeovers and stuff like that, and we bring it back to the YouTube channel, like you say, you've put a lot of great wrestling content out there. So for the wrestling fans that are watching this, I want people to make sure they go and subscribe to your channel, because it's such a fun perspective. And you've shown already in this interview, you've got some great points, knowledge points from a modern fan. And I think that there's not enough modern fans sharing and voicing their opinions. So I want people to actually go out there and check your channel. I think that they need to give Dan DWE some time on YouTube, because it's real good stuff. But it's not just football, that's not just wrestling, sorry, that's on your channel. I've given the game away already there, haven't I? Yeah. Football is based on the channel as well. You're a big Swansea City fan, aren't you?
Yes, it's my own team. My parents, grandparents, all sports squads. I did have a season ticket before fans went, and it's nice to see them really doing well now after a couple of years of struggle. And you got a bit more back in this season, and our manager's excellent with young players. He's perfect for the job we have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Swansea City having a great season as well. They're second, if I'm not mistaken, currently in the Championship. Yeah. So, and the top two obviously get promoted to the Premier League. Of course, there's the playoffs as well for a third team to join. I'd really like to see Swansea back in the Premier League. I did enjoy them back there before, especially, well, I didn't like it when they were beating my team. They once beat my team, West Ham 4-1. I wasn't quite happy that day. But, I mean, Swansea, they're a good footballing side. They're good at kicking the ball around. So I do hope they do come back to the Premier League at some point. Definitely would be good to see it. And also, for yourself as well, good chance to get some more videos on there celebrating the Swans in the Premier League. I think that would be quite fun to watch.
Definitely, if Swans go up, I will probably do more videos. More people want to see it if we're in the Prem. But yeah, I've done one video on Swansea before, so it's a club I'm passionate about. It's my own team, so you really show it through when I do the videos.
Absolutely, indeed. Dave, you've done a few more Premier League ones as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done like transfer window ones, and like I did early on at the start of the season do a couple of Prem ones, but then I decided to shift it more to wrestling, and I do a bit of both now, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to have that variety, isn't it? Like you say there, you focus a lot of stuff on wrestling, but you also give one or two other things out there just to branch out there, because it's a casual standpoint. Of course, there are people that are into both, you know, and that's always good to see. So it's great. Are there other things that you do for the channel as well?
Well, one of the goals is for the channel is to get as many new wrestling fans as possible, and I can't get new fans if I just do wrestling content. So I've done a lot of crossover stuff. So I've done a Premier League team full of footballers, a lot of stuff like that. And you do more stuff like that. And that video was actually received really well, and a lot of people enjoyed that. And so I'm trying to get as many new fans into wrestling as possible. Try really grow a good, positive community. Because I know wrestling, they could do with some new fans. So I think I could definitely bring a lot to the table and a lot more new fans. Hopefully they really enjoy wrestling.
Absolutely, indeed. Then I would definitely like to see that. Is there anything then that you'd like to plug for us today? Like, I mean, obviously we'll leave if for the YouTube watchers, I'll leave the link in the description so people can go directly towards your channel and they can go and check out your content and subscribe. But is there any content that they could be looking forward to in the near future?
Well, obviously WrestleMania around the corner. Obviously, I'll do all my Elimination Chamber, probably do reaction to that, prediction, pay-per-view review. I always do 3 videos around the pay-per-view. So that'll be there, 3 videos up. So a lot of videos around WrestleMania, and that'll be probably the main focus, and probably a bit more just fun, like real-life videos. And hopefully, if restrictions lift, I can do more videos outdoors as well.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun to see as well there. So, yeah, that would be great. And like I say to everybody, go and check out DWE. It's definitely worth a subscribe, definitely worth checking out the content. And I want to say, Dan, thank you so much for coming on the channel today. It's been great to have you on.
Anytime, I'll come back anytime.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much there. Well, for those that are watching on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Go and check out DWE as well. Getting to 250 subscribers. He's so close to that milestone. So let's make that happen. If you're watching this video, go over there now and give some support to DWE. I honestly highly recommend it. But for those that, of course, have got a keen eye on this channel as well, I do let you know that the Elimination Chamber predictions are on the channel as of right now. So make sure to go and check them out. And of course, there'll be more content coming throughout the week, and you can also, maybe I'll have 1 or 2 surprises also coming later this week, where I may be in a couple of other destinations. So make sure to go and follow my Twitter handle at SCW_Steve, and you can find out where to find me this week. But that's all from me, and that's all from Dan as well. Thank you so much, Dan, again, for coming on. This has been SCW here on YouTube, and if you've been listening on podcast form, have yourselves a great day, and we'll see you next time.